Attention, America. Today, two large and powerful wind systems will sweep across different parts of the country. These winds are expected to be extremely strong, particularly in open areas, wooded regions, and city centers. Meteorologists predict wind speeds ranging from 50 to 80 miles per hour, with some areas experiencing even stronger gusts. Such weather events not only challenge environmental conditions, but can also lead to tree falls, power outages, and flight cancellations. One of these wind systems is moving from the western coast toward the interior, while the other is advancing from the southeast toward the northeast. Experts warn that these winds may cause massive dust storms, roof damage, and the displacement of lightweight objects, especially in open spaces. The coldest temperatures of the season are on the way, arriving this weekend and continuing into next week. Along with the cold, we'll see two disturbances, one of which is expected to track much farther south. Let's break down the details in this update. For the next 2 days, we'll actually experience a warming trend before the Arctic air arrives. This warm up will be thanks to a southwest wind pulling warmer air anomalies farther north, and the western regions will remain high and dry, but a clipper system is moving through the Great Lakes, Ohio, Pennsylvania, and into New York this morning. Additionally, we're monitoring a system just entering the United States that will traverse the south, potentially bringing winter precipitation to southern areas. Looking at the surface map this morning, the Clipper system is progressing and could bring snow showers to parts of Canada, Michigan, Ohio, West Virginia, Pennsylvania, and upstate New York by this afternoon. Notice the red freezing line on the map. It's well to the north, courtesy of the southwest winds, which will help temperatures moderate over the next 2 days. By Friday, much of the lower 48 will experience a warm-up, making it feel quite mild. You might even wonder, what Arctic blast? But patience is key. It's definitely coming. Enjoy the milder weather while it lasts, because by the weekend, everything changes. A strong ridge forming over Alaska will push a buckle in the jet stream, sending the first wave of colder air plunging into the lower 48. This process won't be an immediate wham, but more of a gradual cooling with pulses of colder air arriving each day. The coldest temperatures will likely peak around Tuesday. The initial Arctic surge will enter the lower 48 Friday night, intensifying by Saturday morning. Wind chills will feel bone-chillingly cold, with parts of Canada experiencing temperatures that feel like minus 50 degrees Fahrenheit. The Dakotas will see wind chills of minus 28 degrees Fahrenheit, with single-digit temperatures reaching as far south as Kansas. New Mexico, Oklahoma, and Ohio will also feel the chill, with temperatures in the teens and 20s. This Arctic air mass is expansive and will affect nearly the entire U.S., except for parts of California and southern Florida. The first cold front will bring lift, creating snow showers Saturday morning across Illinois, Indiana, and Ohio before moving into Canada. The Central Plains, including the Dakotas, Iowa, and Nebraska, will miss out on most of the snowfall, but still experience the intense cold. The disturbance we're watching closely is emerging from the Rockies, accompanied by a powerful 1,058 millibar Arctic high pressure system. This system will drive the cold air southward with incredible force, bringing the coldest temperatures of the season. Pressure readings of 1,054 to 1,058 millibars highlight the severity of this cold air mass. By Sunday morning, actual temperatures, not wind chills, will be below zero in many areas. The purple areas on the map indicate sub-zero readings. For example, temperatures will drop to 16 degrees Fahrenheit in the Texas Panhandle, 15 degrees Fahrenheit in Oklahoma, and 23 degrees Fahrenheit in Dallas. These numbers demonstrate just how widespread and impactful this Arctic blast will be as it continues to expand eastward into Monday and Tuesday. It's likely to remain cold all the way through early next week due to a strong blocking pattern taking shape. A ridge over Alaska and a ridge over Greenland are creating a blocking effect, allowing cold air to press underneath and expand southward. By Monday, This Arctic blast will continue to dive southward and expand both westward and eastward. More regions will start to feel its effects as we head into the early part of the week. One key factor we'll be monitoring is the cross-polar flow. This flow will be active, with the disturbance moving in by Monday afternoon. This system will link up with disturbed weather currently off the coast of California and traverse across the southern corridor. This setup will provide lift, which could interact with the cold air over the southern plains and deep south, bringing the potential for wintry weather by Monday night. This mechanism, combined with the cross-polar flow, could lead to light snow in Oklahoma, North Texas, East Texas, and even parts of Central Texas, with temperatures dropping into the 20s and possibly the teens on Monday morning. Any snowfall will likely be a dry, powdery type. It's going to be very cold across the region. As the cold air continues to press southward, its eastward expansion will also intensify. By Monday afternoon and into Tuesday morning, the Arctic air will reach the deep south. It's rare, but the entire state of Texas is expected to remain below freezing, with cold air pushing all the way to the Gulf of Mexico. By Monday afternoon, high temperatures in many areas won't even rise above freezing. These are the highs for the day, with freezing conditions extending deep into the southern plains and beyond. As the cold air pushes southward, lift will continue and the snow potential will shift further south. This rare setup, with a low-pressure system interacting with Arctic air, raises the likelihood of wintry weather far to the south. Light snow could extend into southeast Texas, while areas like Louisiana, Mississippi, Alabama, Georgia, and even the Florida Panhandle could see some form of a wintry mix by Tuesday morning. This Arctic outbreak is widespread and impressive. It's not out of the question for areas deep in the south to experience wintry precipitation, making this a notable and rare weather event. Stay prepared for these extreme cold conditions and the potential for snow well outside the usual regions. Yes, there are areas that have experienced colder temperatures in the past, but this event is notable for its scope. About 95% of the country is expected to experience freezing temperatures, with the cold plunging far south. If this forecast holds, the average low temperature for the entire lower 48 could be around 6 degrees Fahrenheit. If that happens, it would likely be the coldest and most widespread cold spell since January 2014, a span of about 10 to 11 years. This cold blast isn't limited to specific regions. Instead, it will impact nearly the entire country. By Tuesday morning, 95% of Americans will likely wake up to freezing temperatures, making this an exceptionally impressive Arctic outbreak. The cold will continue to shift eastward, with probabilities of light snow or a wintry mix extending into Georgia, the Carolinas, both South Carolina and North Carolina, and even Virginia. Some light precipitation may also occur in Delaware and portions of New Jersey. While this system is not expected to follow the coast, instead heading into the Atlantic, the cold air will remain entrenched across the country throughout the week. From Saturday to Saturday, this will be a prolonged and significant cold spell. Due to the blocking pattern, some areas in Alaska will actually be warmer than Texas, a rare phenomenon. On average, temperatures across the lower 48 are expected to run 10 to 15 degrees below normal for the week, marking a widespread and persistent cold outbreak. In addition to the cold, wintry weather is likely. The current Clipper system is already bringing 100% chances of snow to parts of the Midwest and Great Lakes. The second system, moving down through the Rockies, will also have a high likelihood of snow in its path. While lighter probabilities exist further south, they are still significant, with the latest European ensembles indicating 60 to 70% chances of wintry precipitation in parts of southeast Texas, Louisiana, Arkansas, and Mississippi. Notably, there is a donut hole of dry air in the Central Plains, where areas like Iowa and Nebraska have little to no chance of snow. Meanwhile, regions much further south, such as Alabama, could see snow, which is a rare occurrence. The GFS and European models are generally aligned, both showing the donut hole and high probabilities of snow further south. As the disturbance moves east, lift ahead of the system will increase, maintaining 40 to 50% chances of wintry precipitation across Texas and the Deep South into Monday, Tuesday, and possibly Wednesday of next week. We're also going to discuss this Arctic air mass and the potential for some snow in the Northeast during the weekend. We'll cover it all in today's video. If you're new to the channel and haven't already, go ahead and like the video, subscribe, and hit that bell for the latest notifications. That way, you'll stay up to date with the latest model guidance and our breakdown of the data as we navigate this very active start to 2025. All right, folks. With that said, let's dive right into the data overview and get you up to speed. What you're seeing looping next to me here is the overnight run of our ICON model. It's showing the potential for winter weather quite well in the Deep South, with the possibility of multiple rounds of winter weather as we head into next week. Now, this is just one model. This map highlights areas where we could see enough snow and sleet for a significant winter storm, at least a quarter inch of liquid equivalent. That would likely translate to about 4 or 5 inches of snow, or maybe 2 or 3 inches of a snow sleet mix. They've already pinpointed one area for Monday, January 20th. They are highlighting parts of Texas and Louisiana. While not a major threat, there's a 10 to 30% chance of meeting the criteria for what I would consider a significant winter weather event. Now, take a look at Tuesday. This is quite impressive. There's a 30 to 50% chance of a significant winter weather event stretching from Myrtle Beach to Columbia, Augusta, Wilmington, Fayetteville, and even up into the Lumberton area of North Carolina. Areas in the Deep South, including parts of Mississippi, also fall into this 30 to 50% chance range. Additionally, there's a 10 to 30% chance for places like Southeast Virginia, Raleigh, Charlotte, Greenville, Spartanburg, Atlanta, Birmingham, and even as far south as the Houston area. You can see the point here. There's still a strong possibility of a significant winter storm in portions of the Deep South, including coastal areas along the Gulf Coast and the Atlantic, particularly in Georgia, South Carolina, and North Carolina. If Tuesday's forecast wasn't enough, let me show you Wednesday. The threat continues with a 10 to 30% chance of significant winter weather extending from Charlotte down to Columbia, South Carolina, and covering most of North Carolina, South Carolina, and Georgia. This also includes Shreveport, northern Mississippi, and northern Alabama. It's shaping up to be an active stretch next week with several days of potential significant winter weather in the Deep South. Before we dive deeper into the models and data, I want to briefly touch on some near-term weather events. We'll come back to the winter storm threat shortly. Currently, we're already seeing snow across Michigan, Ohio, West Virginia, parts of Pennsylvania, and into New York State. The blue shading on the map represents a quick-moving clipper system. While it's not a major event, it's dropping a bit of snow in this region. Meanwhile, parts of Florida are seeing rain this morning. This activity is a sign of things to come as a very active southern jet stream develops. This will become particularly important once Arctic air moves southward. The key question is whether this Arctic air will link up with a storm system along the southern jet stream to produce a major winter storm. That's the scenario we'll be exploring in just a moment. We'll wrap up the rest of this wintry weather as it moves through the Ohio Valley and into the Northeast. Like I mentioned earlier, this isn't a major event, but we will see some snow through the afternoon. The time above my head is in Eastern time, and it's based on our latest high-resolution rapid refresh HRRR model. Here we go into the afternoon. Light snow will be seen across Pennsylvania, West Virginia, and portions of southern New York State, including areas like the Finger Lakes and Buffalo. By later this afternoon, places like Philadelphia, New York City, and northern New Jersey might see some light snow showers or flurries. Unfortunately for snow lovers, this won't accumulate much maybe just a dusting in some areas with isolated spots getting up to half an inch or possibly an inch. However, don't count on significant accumulation. This is more of a novelty event. These snow showers will last into the evening, potentially reaching as far as the Delmarva Peninsula by sunset and even extending into Boston and Connecticut. By tomorrow morning, this system will clear out, except for a small piece of energy swinging through the upper peninsula of Michigan. Meanwhile, you'll notice the next storm system beginning to build for the weekend. While not a big deal overall, this wintry weather could drop a couple of inches in the mountains of West Virginia, but most areas will see only a dusting to an inch. Now, onto the Arctic blast. The next major story is this Arctic blast, which could set the stage for potential winter weather. While we enjoy talking about snow, it's essential to ensure the ingredients for it are in place. Ingredient number one is always cold air. Here's a look at our 500 millibar height anomaly map. If I haven't mentioned it yet, this map highlights where pockets of warm and cold air are located. Cold air is shown in blue, while warm air appears in red and orange. For tomorrow afternoon, we see some ridging or a buckling in the jet stream, represented by the orange area across the eastern half of the country. This ridging will bring a brief warm-up with temperatures closer to average or even above average in portions of the plains. However, looming behind this ridge back in Canada is a significant trough of cold air beginning to dive southward. This is the coldest air we've seen so far this winter and could very well end up being the coldest of the season. Moving into the weekend, Saturday and Sunday afternoons, this Arctic air mass is downright impressive, both in its intensity and scale. It will stretch from California to the East Coast, bringing cold air from sea to shining sea. For winter weather fans, this is good news. However, there's a catch. Sometimes we can have too much of a good thing. If this cold air mass is too strong or dives too far south, it could cut off the southern jet stream, leaving us dry. High pressure associated with this cold air can cause sinking motion in the atmosphere, preventing storm systems from forming. That said, the cold air itself won't be an issue. We'll have plenty of it. The question is whether the cold and storm systems can overlap to produce snow or ice. This block of cold air will linger through all of next week, with the pattern likely persisting until late January. By the last weekend of the month, the pattern may shift, with the troughing moving westward and ridging returning to the east. This would bring a new weather pattern to discuss. What can you do to stay safe? Secure loose items. Make sure to anchor lightweight and portable objects in your yard or on your balcony. Limit outdoor activities. Being outside in these conditions can be dangerous, especially near tall structures. Prepare for power outages. Keep your devices charged and assemble an emergency kit. Drive with caution. High winds can make it challenging to control your vehicle, so exercise extra care on the roads. These powerful winds serve as a vivid reminder of nature's force. However, with a few simple precautions, you can protect yourself and your loved ones. Do not underestimate this weather event. It could have serious consequences. And guys, if you enjoyed this one, don't forget to like and leave a comment below. I'll see you all in the next video.